Alright, what's up guys? Ninja Deathstrike here, bringing you my 900 subscriber special. Got another 100 subs, so that means a deck list. There wasn't a whole lot to do for this one. I've already done Darkrai, Hydreigon, and Eels a while ago, I believe, so instead I'm going to show you guys the Garchomp Salamence deck I played with a couple of battles ago. I actually got a lot of requests for the list, and so I figured I'll just do that. It's a fun deck, you know. I'll make a disclaimer right here at the beginning. This is not a competitive deck, so take that information for what it's worth. But it is a really fun deck, and so I figured I would give you guys the list. So again, since it's not a competitive deck, I don't care about giving out my entire list, and you guys can probably improve on it too, because I haven't done a whole lot with it for a couple of weeks, so I'm sure there's ways to improve. But the object of the deck is to use Salamence in combination with the trainer card Hooligans to discard your opponent's hand, and then just attack with Garchomp because it's a big fat attacker that discards special energies for a little more disruption, and also uses Gabite to help you get the Salamence out consistently. So take a look at the Pokemon lines here. You'll notice I have 18 Pokemon. That's quite a lot, and this is actually as trimmed down as I could get it. We only have 3 lines here. First one is going to be a Molga. I have 2 of these guys. 3 would probably be better. I just couldn't fit it in. But this is your ideal starter. Call for Family will get you 2 basics right off the bat. It also has Free Retreat, so it's not completely useless later in the game if you need to promote it just as a placeholder until you can figure out what you want to do on your turn after something gets knocked out. So ideally you're going to want to start with a Moga and Call for Family on turn 1. Next up we have Salamence, who is the disruption part of the deck. If we take a look here, Bagon and Shelgon. Come on, show me Shelgon. There we go. Bagon and Shelgon, really nothing special. They're not that great. So I'm just going to skip over them. You actually can't attack with them because they take fire energy and you don't run any. So the only reason they're in the deck is obviously because of Salamence. Salaменce's ability, Scornful Storm, which is just an awesome name for an ability, forces your opponent to discard their hand down to 4 cards every turn. So obviously this can be pretty disruptive. You know, it's not shuffle in or discard 1. And it can be used every turn. It's not just when it comes into play. So you really limit the hand size of your opponent with Scornful Storm. And Salamence also has 140 HP, which is pretty good. Obviously, dragons are still going to one-shot him, but with the way the deck works, you probably don't need to worry about him being attacked very often. Usually, your Garchomps are going to draw most of the fire. And for that reason, I only have a 2-1-2 line in here. You don't need more than 1. The ability doesn't stack. There's no advantage to it. And with Dragon Call, being able to play a thinner line isn't a big deal since you'll still be able to search them out pretty quickly. So we just play 2-1-2, and the only reason to do that is to save space. You could try 3-1-3, but good luck trying to fit it in there. I don't think it's that important, but if you really want to get an early Salamence, which can be pretty disruptive, you're welcome to try a 3-1-3 if you want to go that route. And then here we have the deck's only line of attackers, the Garchomp line. By now you guys probably know what these cards do, but I'll go through them real quick. Gibble, not a terrible starter if you can't start a Molga. Sand Attack forces your opponent to flip, and if they get a Tails, their attack fails. So that's good. It can be, you know, it can buy you a turn, potentially. Gabite, really the heart and soul of this deck. The ability Dragon Call is just fantastic. It just lets you search for dragon Pokemon every turn. It is stackable, so you know, once you get your first Gabite into play, I highly recommend you search out as many other Gabites as you can and evolve them all on the same turn. And I also recommend leaving at least 1 Gabite on your bench if you can. Sometimes you really do need to evolve into the Garchomp just to protect it, or you know, if it's your only one out for an attack, but if at all possible, try to leave a Gabite on the bench so that you can pull Pokemon every turn to keep your deck going. And then we have the attacker Garchomp, who has two really good attacks. Mach Cut, 60 for 1, is pretty good, and it discards a special energy. And then Dragon Blade is 100 for 2, and it makes you discard the top 2 cards off your deck. So Garchomp's your main attacker. Has a little bit of built-in disruption and hits decent numbers for cheap, which is always good. And since it's the only attacker, we're running 4-3-4. I would not run less than 3 Gabite, and if you want to go to 4, that's actually fine with me. It really is important for the deck. So that's the Pokemon line. Let's take a look at the trainers. So here's my trainer line. I decided to go first with 4 Level Ball. Just because Level Ball is your key search. It gets Gible, Gabite, and Emolga. Those are really the only 3 cards you're going to need to search, since once again, if you get Gabite into play, you have Pokemon Search for your big guys. So you really don't need Ultra Ball in the deck, I don't think. You could put 1 or 2 in if you wanted to, but I just stick with the Level Balls. 4 Catcher, because it's Catcher. 2 Random Receiver, which might seem a little odd because you're playing Hooligans, but sometimes you have a Hooligans and you don't want it, or you have a regular supporter but you don't really need it, so you want to try for a Hooligan. So I do like 2 in here just to give you a chance to grab something you don't already have. 4 Rare Candy should be pretty self-explanatory. You run 2 Stage 2s, so I would not cut these down at all. 2 Super Odds, because you only have 4 attackers, things are going to get knocked out, and you need to be able to hit them to recycle your attackers. So definitely I think 2 is better than 1, though you could cut it down to 1 if you wanted to put something else in. And then I also run 2 Switch. I'd actually like to run more, but 2 is all I could fit. This is kind of an optional one, I suppose, but I like having the ability to maybe switch into a Molga on turn 1 if I have a Level Ball, but I don't start with it. It can also be good to prevent catcher stall. Some people might want to catcher up Salamence and try and stall that way. So this gives you a few opportunities to get out of situations like that, but only 2. You could cut them maybe for Max Potion. Max Potion's always good in cheap attacking decks, or any other card that you think would be a good tech, but I opted to go for Switch. Next we have our supporter line. 4 Juniper and 4 N, pretty much standard in every deck, so there's really no reason to go under that. This is your core supporter list. Then I went for 2 Sharon. I like Sharon over Bianca here. Garchomp's already discarding things out of your deck. Your hand can tend to get quite large thanks to Dragon Call, so Bianca is not always that great. So I think Sharon's the better option. And then 4 Hooligans, which in combination with Salamence, if you fill the heads, can put your opponent down to a 1-card hand. You could maybe go down with 3, but I went for 4 just because I really wanted to go all in with a strategy. It might be better to go with less, but you really want to aim for the fastest Salamence you can. Normally, hand sizes in the late game are not going to be that big, and so Salamence is really going to help you out. The earlier you get it out, the more help it's going to be. If you can make your opponent discard 3 or 4 cards as opposed to 1 or 2, it's going to be a lot more devastating. But then, Hooligans is going to take care of any small hand sizes, since if their hand's small enough to avoid Salamence, Hooligans is just going to destroy it. And that's why I opted to play 4. And then that leaves us with 10 energy. Just went for 6 fighting and 4 blend. This is to give you a chance to use Dragon Blade, and as well as still allowing you to use Mach Cut. So things you'll probably notice are missing. Tool Scrapper would be really great to fit in. That's a good option to take out the Switch for. Max Potion is another option. I suppose you could do Giant Cape, but I don't think it's as important as the other 2, so definitely worth considering a Tool Scrapper or Max Potion. But yep, that's the deck. Pretty simple. Just get out Gabite and then explode on turn 3. Problems can be if your opponent gets a really fast start, they can knock your stuff out before you get a chance to attack. And sometimes Garchomp's damage can be a little bit a little bit disappointing, but if you can, limit their options with Salamence, you can find a way to make it through. So hopefully you guys like the deck. If you try it out, let me know what you think in the comments. And also, I have the poll up for what kind of Nuzlocke I'm going to do for my next playthrough. It's on my Facebook page, so please go and vote for that. I think I only have 2 votes right now, so if no one votes, I'm just going to pick whatever I want to do, and you guys will have to watch it. But if I get a few more votes, then I'll be able to do whatever you guys want me to do. So that's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Thumbs up if you liked the video. Check out the links in the description, and I'll have more coming your way shortly. Later, guys.